sadness to tell you that Archie passed at 12:15 today. And can I just say I'm the proudest mum in the world. Such a beautiful little boy. And he fought right until the very end. And I'm so proud to be his mum.
He was taken off of all medication at 10 o'clock and his entire stats remained completely stable for 2 hours until they removed ventilation. No family should ever have to go through what we've been through. It's barbaric.
That's the shattered voice of 12-year-old Archie Battersby's mother and family as she confirms her son's death. Now, his life support was switched off following confirmation he was brainstem dead with no chance of recovery. Archie was found unconscious with a ligature around his head. His parents believe that he was taking part in a viral challenge that went horribly wrong. This here is 8-year-old Leilani Walton and 9-year-old Ariana Arroyo, who police believe both died as a direct result of TikTok's blackout challenge. Some believe that social media platforms are targeting young children and teens with their viral challenges using specific algorithms. Now, we know TikTok and social media platforms are addictive and most of the time a fun place for children and teens. But are social media platforms responsible for pushing potentially deadly content to its users? And where does accountability come from when their challenges turn fatal? It's an important topic in the rapidly growing and wild west of social media. My name's Holly Stearns. Thank you for your company today. I want to bring in social media expert Dr. Karen Sutherland from the University of the Sunshine Coast and TikTok sensation and media expert Jeff J. Hunter. Welcome to you both. Thank you so much for your time. A really important conversation today. Jeff, as a father, firstly, how does it make you feel when you hear about the deaths of young children, potentially at the hands of dangerous viral challenges?
Well, it's devastating to hear, especially when challenges are so deadly. You've heard about the blackout challenge, and then before that, if you remember, there was Tide Pods. And I think that we have a social responsibility, to make sure that we're looking at the content that we consume and our children consume, but also are the platforms really liable for the content on there? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really big question at the moment, and social media to a certain extent is the Wild West, and we can't be always watching our children 24/7. Karen, it's not just the blackout challenge, as Jeff mentioned there, the 2021 milk crate challenge, which encouraged users to climb milk crates, and then that led to broken bones. In 2020, a girl died in a challenge that encouraged users to take large amounts of antihistamines. Does TikTok and other social media platforms, dangerous algorithms, intentionally and repeatedly push videos of dangerous challenges into our children's feeds, but then incentivizing them to participate?
See, the thing is, with an algorithm, it tends to work on what you're already interacting with. So they sometimes test what your response will be to a piece of content. And then if you do interact with that or even watch it for a period of time, watch it through, it will begin showing you more and more of that content. And so, yeah, but my question is, I mean, TikTok has an age limit of 13, but these kids tend to be younger than that age. And even 13 is not really old enough to navigate TikTok on your own. So why are these kids at such a young age on these platforms to begin with, is my question.
And we all know ourselves, TikTok can be like a rabbit hole, really. It's quite addictive for anybody, not just children and teens. Jeff, has TikTok invested, though, billions of dollars here to intentionally design products that push dangerous content that it knows is harmful and can result in the deaths of its users?
Well, I think that the algorithm isn't something that's like public knowledge. So we don't exactly know what the algorithm has done, but I've gone viral number of times. I've gotten over 250 million views, like 3.5 million likes. And I can tell you that sometimes I don't even know what videos are going to go viral. Matter of fact, the videos that I don't want to go viral seem to be the ones that do go viral. So, I think definitely there should be some disclosure on what that algorithm looks like, especially when it comes to dangerous challenges. Like, we should probably know kind of like if they're intentionally pushing harmful content to our kids.
Exactly. And I mean, how do parents, you know, in these horrible instances where children have died as a result of these challenges, how do parents, everyday parents, go up against big tech giants like, say, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, whoever it might be? How do you actually go about getting up against someone like that at that level? Where does accountability come from, Karen?
Look, honestly, it's really hard to say. I think it has to really begin with education from parents to children, and parents really need to understand what is on these platforms, because I've had conversations with parents who are considering letting their 10-year-olds on TikTok, and I'm like, are you crazy? And just explain, because they don't understand the platform or what's on there. There's still this perception that it's just a fun sort of lip syncing dance app, and at those days, like, that's on there a little bit, but those days are really are gone. And so it's really about, I guess, letting kids know what can happen when things go wrong, telling these stories, which may scare them, but it might actually scare them enough not to actually be on there anymore.
Exactly. I mean, in one instance with one of those young girls, her parents actually had warned her about these dangerous challenges. They'd told her about it, but that wasn't enough. She still did it anyway. Jeff, what would be your advice, I guess, here for parental controls here? It is quite dangerous here, but you can't be watching a child 24/7, can you?
Yeah, I think that, having real strong expectations on when that screen time is allowed. I have a 10-year-old son. My wife and I just had a conversation today about giving him a phone, because now it's a point where he's just started back at school. He's in extracurricular activities. So now, having a tool of apps, and there's definitely apps out there that can actually control what your kids are into and actually tell you what they're doing, is very important. And whenever there's screen time at home at our house, we do not let our children take the phones by themselves somewhere. Because I have a 3-year-old who, by the way, has also gone down that rabbit hole a few times, where we give him the phone to play ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. The next thing you know, he's watching really silly videos that kind of go down into a place where he shouldn't be. So definitely setting expectations and doing your best is all you can do.
Karen, in regards to these viral challenges, I guess, is TikTok and other social media platforms, are they acting quick enough when these challenges do go viral? Because ultimately with this blackout challenge, for example, it was up on the platform for a month or more before anything was actually done here.
Clearly not. Like, clearly not. And I think they sometimes wait for too many people to actually flag it before they'll actually act on it. And the other danger is people can download the content onto their phones and share it on other platforms. So even taking it off one platform may not even be enough. There are parental controls on TikTok, but again, like, clearly there are loopholes with that. The thing is with that is the parent must create their own account first, and then the child creates theirs, and they link the accounts, and then the parent has control over what they see, how long they spend on the app, that sort of thing. But clearly in these instances, that's just really not working.
Jeff, if a person encouraged a child to say, and I know this is quite extreme to even be speaking about this, but it's kind of the reality at the moment. If a person encouraged a child to choke themselves, a person real life, they would be charged. So why is it any different when it's the online realm?
I don't think it is. I just don't think that we've had those charges, or at least to my knowledge, I haven't seen anything like that. But there have been cases here in America, I don't know, internationally, where people have, basically convinced their loved ones to commit suicide, things like that. I can only imagine that convincing a young child to choke themselves until the point to where they black out isn't something that could be legally, you can definitely face some charges for that. I definitely think that there's a case for that, even through the internet.
So why aren't there the same repercussions for social media giants, Karen?
I think it's because it's very hard to control them to do anything. And I mean, the Australian government has been trying, and I mean, with our last government came out and said they were going to enforce all these rules, and nothing ever came of it. Nothing ever came of it. It's I just think they're so big now. It's almost like the horse has bolted. And when you're creating policy and law, it takes years. It takes years, and the technology is faster than the time it takes to actually create these laws and enforce them. And I think that's the biggest issue.
Jeff, you're obviously a TikTok sensation, and as you mentioned before, have had viral videos as well and things like that. What things do you think that, I know we've spoken about a lot of things that TikTok and other social media platforms might not be doing properly in regards to this, but what are some things or some changes that you've seen over the last, say, 12 months or so that are steps in the right direction?
I think that we're on this very dangerous pendulum of content control, because a lot of the problems that we face is that how do we control and monitor what's happening without preventing the ability of free speech? And I think that there's this fine balance, and I think that's why some of these things don't get taken down faster, is because people have the right to say things online. But I think that we need to be carefully monitoring if what you say online influences people to do things that are violent or at least physically abusive.
Karen, if you had to make one change or give some advice, you're obviously a social media expert and focus on these kind of platforms every day. If you had to give some advice in regards to these platforms on how they could improve and keep our children and our teens safe, what would that be?
I just think it has to come back to education. Like it really does. And I don't think the platforms, I think they're trying, but they're not doing enough. It also comes back to the individual and how we use it and how we consume content as well. So I think even more education in terms of what's happening in the home is really important. And I know it's hard for parents because things are changing all the time, but just educating your children like we do about other media, about what's real, what's not real, what's dangerous, and just making that a core part of education.
Absolutely. We have a responsibility as parents as well as the media. Everyone has a responsibility here to, I guess, educate, and that's the most important thing. Of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to the parents who have unfortunately lost children to such a horrific accident here, and so senseless. Thank you both for your insight and advice on this, such an important topic today. Thank you. Wonderful to have your company.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Okay, thank you for your company today and watching. Is such an important discussion. My name's Holly Stearns. We'll be right back after this.